This is Mark's watching MTC Media here at Xfinity, where Maryland just finished losing to UCLA 87-60. The game wasn't even as close as the final score. UCLA was the better team from the time they arrived to arena on. They forced, I want to say, at least 14 turnovers here. They forced 16 turnovers. They got 11 of them in the first half. And when I mean turnovers, live ball turnovers, where they got to get out and run, is part of the reason why they had 44 paint points tonight, was because the defense was sweltering. They jumped every passing lane they could. They got on the boards. I know the boards doesn't look like it, because there was a lot of things that happened in mop-up time that kind of evened the numbers. I mean, this was a 27-point game, and Maryland made 8 threes in the second half after this thing was all over. For UCLA, they were led by Jalen Clark, who seemed to get to the basket anytime he wanted to. In fact, UCLA all night it seemed like they got to the basket anytime they wanted to. And just to think, by the time we got to the under 16, Tyger Campbell had 2 fouls. So he was on the bench, and he was on the bench for the majority of the first half, and UCLA was up 7-0 when he went to the bench. And then UCLA leads at halftime 49-20 with their primary ball handler sitting. Maryland's defensively was not very good. Bona, the big man for UCLA, really controlled the paint. UCLA shares the ball so much. Jaime Jaquez said at the end that basically on offense, they want long closeouts. As long as they can get long closeouts, they can attack downhill. They are so unselfish that they do get the ball to the open guy, especially when it's the big guy. Bona ended up shooting 7 for 8. Jalen Clark continued his second impressive game in a row. He was 7 for 11. He had 19 points and 6 rebounds, and he was getting it whenever he wanted to. And then Jaquez had 14, and Singleton, probably their best 3-point shooter, had 18 points tonight. He was 7 for 10 from the floor, 4 for 5 from 3. And I didn't feel like Maryland's closeouts were the best on Singleton. His very first one came off the second shot, where he gets an open corner 3, and it's like, after that, it just kept feeding on top of each other for him, and UCLA just got rolling and everything snowballed. So again, this is not the way Maryland wanted to end this 4-game stretch. You know, after the Tennessee loss, Coach Kevin Willard has spoke about, you will never see them have 4 games in a row like this again. He did not like the scheduling of them. Mick Cronin brought it up in the postgame that this is the 4th game of this brutalized schedule. He could tell that they were a team that was beat up, kind of worn down, emotionally spent, and they took advantage of all of that, and they certainly did in a big way. Well, we won't be back to Xfinity until after Christmas, which for me is good, because it does give me time to rest. You can catch on my YouTube channel, you can catch Cronin's post game, and I spoke with Bona, Jaquez, and who else? And David Singleton. I spoke to those 3 after the game, so you'll also see that on our YouTube channel. Everybody have a good evening. The next time I'll be in the arena is Friday. Georgetown with their Big East opener against Xavier at 6:30. Please join me for the pregame. This is Marcus Washington from MTC Media.